guys doing okay? All right, it is 6 p.m. on this October 9th, 2024. I'll call this Town Council regular meeting to order. I am off a week. Welcome to everyone in the chambers and those who are tuned in online. Ms. McKay, can we have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Amos. Mr. Reed.
Here.
Mr. Dwyer.
Here.
Mr. Parrott.
Here.
Mr. Yolen.
Here.
Mr. Hunter.
Here.
Mr. Hardy.
Here. Thank you. Next up, we'll have the invocation, which I will lead. You're welcome to join if so inclined, and not to if so inclined. And then Mr. Reed, Vice Mayor Reed, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance afterwards.
Lord in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Give us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. First item on the agenda is adoption of said agenda. If there's no changes, do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
Make a motion, we adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Next up is a declaration of personal interest concerning any of the items on the agenda. Do I hear anyone who wishes to make a declaration of personal interest? Not hearing anyone, we will move right into public hearings. We have 5 public hearings. If you're signed up to speak on one of those public hearings, now will be the time as I announce them one by one. We'll start with the public hearing on ordinance number 230 regarding land-based entities. Do we have anyone signed up to speak? Ms. McKay.
Jesse Yates.
As you approach the microphone, please state your name, residence, and then you have 3 minutes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'm Jesse Yates. I live in Prince Edward. I take care of 2 homes in town of Farmville. And the land bank, the last article in the Farmville Herald, that boarded up houses, no electricity and stuff like that. Y'all got the right to take it down, in which I support that 100%. But if a family is living in a home with current and not able to fix it up, that's the only thing I want y'all to just look at and make sure you don't put some family on the street because they've been run up on hard times or something. But otherwise, I think y'all done a good job, and I appreciate your time. And I know y'all put a lot of effort in it. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have anyone else signed up to speak, Ms. McKay?
No, sir.
All right, we will close public hearing ordinance number 230 and move to public hearing ordinance number 237. regarding erosion and sediment control, updating some regulations. Do we have anyone signed up to speak on ordinance number 237?
No, sir.
All right, we'll close 237. We'll open up public hearing on resolution number 2024-10-01 regarding transfer funds from general fund and street maintenance fund for FY24. Do we have anyone signed up to speak on that, Ms. McKay?
No, sir.
We'll close that public hearing, open up public hearing on resolution 2024-10-02 regarding encumbered amounts from FY24 budget to FY25 budget. Do we have anyone signed up to speak on that, Ms. McKay?
No, sir.
Close that and open up public hearing resolution number 2024-10-03 to amend the FY25 budget to carry forward unencumbered funds from FY24 and to include additional ARPA revenue. Anyone signed up to speak, Ms. McKay?
No, sir.
We'll close that public hearing. Next up is the public comment period. Likewise, 3 minutes, state your name and where you live. And do we have anyone signed up for public comment period this time, Ms. McKay?
No, sir.
All right, we'll close public comment period. And now we'll move into the consent agenda. You have the draft minutes of the September 4th work session and September 11th regular council meeting before you. If there's no items you wish to change, do I hear a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented?
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Next up is the finance report. Ms. Julie Moore on September 2024.
Good evening. You have the September finance report in front of you. The ABM project earned $16,457 in September. The other VIP money we have invested earned $16,066. The sweep accounts at Benchmark earned $12,693, and LGIP earned $35,757. So we earned a total of $64,516 in income for the month of September. And we also wanted to point out that we made the bond payment that was due in October at the very end of September. Any questions?
Do we have any questions for the Finance Director, Ms. Julie Moore? I did notice that, I mentioned this to Ms. Moore, we're already up to a little over 13,000 on our contributions in kind to the rescue squad.
Yes.
And we continue to support them and do so, I would say, well. Thank you for including those in the reports. At this time, is there a motion to accept the finance report as presented?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. All right, we are into old business. First item under old business is to request to adopt ordinance number 230, amending chapter 6 regarding land bank entity. Do we have any discussion or motion concerning land bank entity at this time? No discussion?
I make a motion, we request ordinance number 230, amending chapter 6, building and adding particle 6 land bank entity.
Second.
Motion and second on the floor. Any additional discussion at this time? Not hearing it. Ms. McKay, can we have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Yolen?
Yes.
Mr. Hunter?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
The motion passes.
All right, thank you, Ms. McKay. Next up on the agenda is a discussion around the Zion subdivision preliminary plat site plan review. We had a brief discussion of this at the work session, but I believe the developer is here. Is that correct, Mr. Davis?
Yes, sir. Mr. Ben Lapp is here this evening. He didn't have a chance at the work session. We did get back with him to share council's concerns relative to the ordinance, and he had something else that night that he was already committed to, and so we've offered him the ability to share his comments this evening for you to think over. And then we're not asking for any approval tonight of this, obviously. This is just for him to share and for you to think over, and then we'll bring it back after any feedback for a vote at another meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Mr. Lapp, if you wouldn't mind coming to the front there, you can speak into that microphone. It's directional, so you kind of got to lean into it there.
All right, well, thank you all for letting me speak here. I do have some paperwork here. Can I hand it out? I printed 7 copies. So, as you can see, on August 16th, and this is in regards to specifically the sidewalks at Zion, and I just want to say I appreciate what y'all do. I'm not trying to, undermine something or anything. I just would ask that you would consider this. So, August 16th, obviously, it says that in the top there, from the planning department, they said sidewalks are required on one side of the street. I circled that there. And I just brought that out. And then there's a plat, as you can see, and the black is the sidewalk. So currently it's on one side. Every house would have access to the sidewalk. So if you might have to cross the road to get to the sidewalk, but it's either on that side of the house, or you would have to cross the road to get to the other to the sidewalk from the other side of the road. According to VDOT standards, no sidewalk is required. And as you can see at the bottom of the hill, there are no houses. It may look a little funky, and I just want to just reiterate that is space left for stormwater. In this whole thing, there's calculations and stuff involved. There is open space, and that's why there's no houses there at the bottom. The other thing is we pretty much maxed out the amount of houses in this plot, which is, I think we could do up to 40, and we got 37, I think, in there. So, with the calculations from the engineer and everything, this is set to be like that. So that's why there's no houses down at the bottom. There never will be. According to stormwater management, the sewer line, the other reason we didn't as well is why it's laid out this way is because the sewer is gravity fed. So if the subdivision is on a hill, closer to the pond there, it goes further down. So if there were any houses at the bottom, they would have needed to be pumped or a pump station put in. So the way it is right now, everything is gravity fed, gravity drain. My main concern is just affordability, more or less, for this subdivision. And I understand sidewalks are a good thing, but I just would ask you to consider, with the times we live in, interest rates the way they are, I was hoping to concrete each driveway as well. And, if we end up doing 2 sidewalks, which the town had said one was required, and we based our finances off of that, everything goes into play, because to put another sidewalk there is not just put another sidewalk there. You have to get recalculations on all stormwater management, which is time and money with the engineer, and then you have to do the concrete and the prep work for all that yet. So we went with one, and affordability, I want to relay that to the customers, because I feel like there's a need. I was hoping the houses could stay in the $250,000 to $300,000 range, but, you know, the more we tack on, the more infrastructure that comes into this, the less expensive, or the more expensive and the less affordable it is for people. I'm looking for a clean subdivision. I want it to be nice. I built some houses on Lane Street. You can take a look at them. I sent Ashley some pictures last week. I don't know if you saw them. But I'm looking for a nice, clean subdivision. Like I said, I was hoping to concrete the driveway. I feel like if I don't, there'll be stones on these sidewalks. Two sides or not, it's going to be, I feel like it needs to be. That's a cost on my end, but, you know, I'm asking just for you to consider that one would be enough. The other thing I would ask for is, and I'm not looking for handouts or anything like that. I believe that y'all need to do what you need to do in keeping this town upright. So, you know, what I'm saying here is just asking for your consideration. Even the tap fees, I don't know, you know, if that's something that we could get a rate on, maybe a better rate since there's 40 houses going in, just to make it more affordable, because it's a lot of money up front to get something like this going, and it's almost not worth it if we have to do many different things to get it to the point where we can sell a house. But that's all I have. I just wanted to share that, and I thank y'all for your time, and I just hope you will consider that.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for Mr. Lapp at this time?
I'll ask him one on the, while you're up here, on the side where the stormwater is it going to be pretty much, I'm really tough to get a sidewalk around that piece? Because if you went around the whole outside, that's what it would probably, I think that's what has been discussed, but is that going to be really almost impossible to do, or is it possible to do, or?
You mean to get it around where at?
Sorry, around here,
Down at the bottom?
down at the bottom.
So there's no houses down there, so it would probably
Correct.
stop at 15, and it would go all the way around to 14, right? I mean, there would be a break in the sidewalk
I
if
get
we
you.
had to. But like I said, the other thing too is Lane Street goes out to nothing. I mean, it's not like it's on the west end of town. You know.
Mr. Davis, what is the language on that new sidewalk ordinance concerning development and frontage?
So on one section you updated under site plan on Article 1, it says, you added a number 16. It says construction of a 5-foot sidewalk along the street and roadway and a 5-foot sidewalk leading to the structure, which means you can't have a 5-foot sidewalk leading to a structure if you don't have it along the road. In the other section, under the subdivision ordinance, that was under zoning, under the subdivision ordinance, you added R1, 2, and 3 to an existing B1, 2, and 3, where it says R1, R2, and R3 zoning districts being subdivided or developed when one of the following applies. 1, the land fronts on an existing street, which he's got to build a street, so then it becomes existing. 2, is adjacent to an existing sidewalk. 3, is regionally required by the proposed development. Or 4, is in the adopted comprehensive plan. Nothing in this section shall alter VDOT's authority to require sidewalks. He is correct, VDOT doesn't, we set our own rules as far as sidewalks and roadway. We could do different even on our roadways, but then we wouldn't get funded to maintain our streets if we don't make developers build them to VDOT standards. That's the only thing, that's the reason for following VDOT as far as building roads. But that's the word, that's the language that was adopted by council for that. Mr. Lapp and I had talked also on the phone about his question about tap fees. You'll recall in my time here, I think in the last 7 years, I think we've done it at 2 different occasions. And we have to, it can't be for one individual development. You would have to offer that you'd have to do a ordinance to amend well, you wouldn't amend the original one, you would just relax it for a time period. And you've heard me say this before, most of you have, a few weren't maybe on here at the time, is a tap fee is something that we get one time, the town. At the end of the day, the town is ultimately responsible after that period indefinitely to maintain that. So we get one bite at the apple to get X amount of money up front to cover it for its lifetime.
Thank you for that. Do we have any other additional discussion at this time? There's not a vote before us, but we just have the floor
I'm
open.
curious. I hear you loud and clear. I understand exactly what you're saying. My question to you would be, if you had to do the perimeter versus the interior circle, have you looked to see what the additional cost would be to you, or is that just too far out to even speculate?
I haven't looked. It would be more. I don't know how much more. The other thing is, if we do the outside perimeter, the stormwater and management calculation is going to have to be reworked, and there's money involved in that. Like I said, we went off what the town had given us in August, so
Out of curiosity, the part that Dr. Davis referred to as far as the sidewalk leading to the structure was included in the language that we had passed previously. Did you miss that, or did you think that circling the circle would qualify as far as for? I'm just asking.
That's right. So we were originally we proposed that there were no sidewalks as VDOT. Okay. Well, the town said there needs to be. So we proposed it as one side, and we obviously went with the shorter side because like I said, the sidewalk does hit every house. So if you do the outside, the people on the inside have to come to the outside. If you do the inside, people on the out have to go in. We were careful to make sure that we didn't jump the gun and proceed without knowing what we need before. And like I said, the town had said sidewalks are required on one side of the street. So after it was determined that we need to do sidewalks, it was determined that it needs to be on one side, and whether it was on the out or the in, we weren't told.
I'm trying to help you as much as I possibly can.
I appreciate it.
I think you've got a great idea here as far as something that's much needed, and I'm hoping we can come to a solution.
So go back to the tap issue. Council explained to me this a little more in detail. So what if we help him? I feel like we need to help developers with this tap fee when it comes about.
In the past, in the past, we had a time frame where we reduced the tap fees for, I think it was 2 years. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was a all-encompassing, we went for like 2 years where we reduced tap fees.
I remember during COVID, we did as an incentive.
So you're correct. Right before that, I think it was. But yes, in the previous language in the other ordinances has been that you have between timeframes, but you have to have gotten a permit and completed the project by a certain date.
You couldn't just buy your time and then do it later.
Correct.
Was that a 1 year? I'm thinking it was 1 year, was it?
I would have to go back and look, but it was a specified period of time. So they would have to realize that, let's say it takes, I don't know how long, 5 months to build a house, right? I mean, and traditionally, and correct me if I'm wrong, but most developers don't do the tap until they're getting ready to sell the house, because once they get the tap, they then got to start paying a water bill.
That's right.
And so, I mean, he'd have to sell 37 houses in whatever time period you set, and anybody else. I mean, I'm giving you his example because he's before you of within that period of time. After that, it goes away. I think it's 4,000 apiece on residential, 4,000 for water, 4,000 for sewer. And I think in the past you reduced that to 2,000 apiece. But like I said, it's one of those, it's definitely you all's decision. It's just one that's the only way we capture that money, that we're responsible for that forever.
You think it's happened twice in the time that you've been?
I would have to pull it, but I do remember it being on or coming on it not long after I got here, or it was already in effect, and then there was another period of time, like Ms. Amos is talking about, that was relatively sooner.
Yeah, I feel like the COVID ones kind of would be an outlier in any look at that, because it's such a unique period of time in our history. But pulling some of that data to figure out, one, where we fit in the scope of other towns concerning tap fees, and then also, did we see any productivity out of lowering those tap fees during those periods? And if you could bring that to a work session, it sounds like council wouldn't mind having that information to deliberate. Does that seem reasonable?
So you want us to actually look at all of our tap fees compared to other localities?
I mean, not all tap fees, but I mean, just a general sense of where we lay on that, like residential development.
Okay.
I may be wrong, but I think I'm right. When your predecessor was here, Donald advocated pretty hard for us to cut our tap fees for like 2 years and a half to try to promote growth and investment in our communities. And that was prior to COVID, I'm sure of.
Yeah.
And I think we've done it 3 times. I'm pretty sure we have. But I think there is some benefit at looking at it.
Now, I think Mr. Parrott's probably referring to the time we were anticipating maybe 3 hotels coming up. And they were all in the beginning stages, as trying to encourage them by lowering the tap fees. Does that sound familiar?
We'll get as much information as we can.
Simple.
So my question to you, Mr. Lapp, would that help you at all? Accomplish what you need to accomplish?
I mean, anything less is helpful. I mean, any financial deductions is helpful. So, you know, it's just there's a lot involved with getting something going, and y'all know that interest rates are high and housing is high. Labor is extremely high. It's not like it used to be, and it just doesn't make it worth it for, you know, many reasons to do something like this if there's all these stipulations or whatever. But I also understand, you know, that's the sidewalk. There needs to be one. I believe one would be sufficient. And the tap fees, you know, lowering that, it's going to allow people to buy something in their budget, because I can't sell a house for $300,000 if it cost me $300,000. And, you know, with all the infrastructure here, you know, we're selling 15 houses before we even start making a dime. So, and then, you know, with the way the economy is, there's a lot of things that come into play. And And with this added expense, if it would be a double one, you know, like I said, we're looking at engineer. He's got to resubmit this stuff. He's got to redo calculations. There's a lot of money in that. It's just, you know, there's a lot. And I'm just asking for help, you know, to do something like this so that people in California or whatever, they're moving here, they can find something that they like in their budget range. This is for them, because I'm going to, you know, I might have to take a bite out of some things if I can't sell something, but.
I will say that, I mean, I just calculated, and even if it's cut in half for 37 houses, that's 150,000 in help. So that's, it may not, I know in the big scheme of things, that's not a lot, but that's at least, we're moving in the right direction. So I think that's definitely, just to let you know, that's, we'll try to move in the right direction.
I appreciate that.
All right. Any other discussion at this time? Thank you, Mr. Lapp.
Thank you.
All right, next item under new business is to request to adopt ordinance number 237, repealing current language around Chapter 10 erosion and sediment control and enacting new language to fulfill update regulations from the Virginia Erosion and Sediment Control Program. This was covered in our work session last week. Any discussion? And if not, do I hear a motion to move on ordinance number 237?
I make a motion, we adopt ordinance number 237.
Second.
Motion and second. Any additional discussion at this time? Not hearing any. Ms. McKay, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Yolen?
Yes.
Mr. Hunter?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mrs. Amos?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Now we're up to resolution number 2024-1001, transfer funds from general fund to street fund for FY '24. We went over this as well. Do we have any additional discussion at this time? If not, do I hear a motion to move on resolution number 2024-1001?
I make a motion, we approve resolution number 2024-1001.
Second.
Motion and second. Any additional discussion at this time? Ms. McKay, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Yolen?
Yes.
Mr. Hunter?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mrs. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Brings us to resolution number 2024-10-02, FY '24 budget, FY '25 budget. Do I hear a motion on resolution number 2024-10-02?
I make a motion to approve resolution number 2024-10-2.
Second.
Motion and second. Any additional discussion? Not hearing any. Ms. McKay, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Yolen?
Yes.
Mr. Hunter?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mrs. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Next up is resolution number 2024-1003 to amend the FY '25 budget to carry forward unencumbered funds from FY '24 and include additional ARPA revenue. Do I hear a motion on 2024-1003?
I make a motion, we approve the resolution number 2024-10-03 to amend the FY '25 budget to carry forward the unencumbered funds from FY '24 and to include additional ARPA revenue.
Second.
Motion and second. Any additional discussion? Ms. McKay, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Yolen?
Yes.
Mr. Hunter?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mrs. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. That brings us to the updated Farmville area bus plan, which we do periodically, and we went over this at work session as well. Do I hear a motion to adopt the updated Farmville area bus plan?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any additional information or any additional discussion? Not hearing any. Ms. McKay, roll call, please.
Mr. Hunter,
Yes.
Mr. Hardy,
Yes.
Mrs. Amos,
Yes.
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer,
Yes.
Mr. Parrott,
Yes.
Mr. Yolen.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. And now, last but not least, resolution number 2024-1004, discussed at work session as well, authorizing the allocation of additional set-aside funds to cover the new splash pad bathroom construction project. Do I hear a motion on resolution 2024-1004?
I move we pass resolution number 2024-10-04.
Second.
Motion and second. Any additional discussion at this time? Not hearing any. Ms. McKay, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Hardy,
Yes.
Mrs. Amos,
Yes.
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer,
Yes.
Mr. Parrott,
Yes.
Mr. Yolen,
Yes.
Mr. Hunter.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. And that concludes the new business, which rolls us into Mr. Davis's town manager report.
We have done another traffic analysis on First Avenue in the 800 block and the 500 block. The numbers are more vehicular traffic in the month of the time frame in September compared to August. However, the data is still the same of there is not a high risk and of speed limit threshold. There's no one going majority of the time 10 plus, which is the medium risk, is 11 in the whole time frame. The rest are below that. So majority of folks out of 2026 vehicle in the 500 block was below 35, which is the threshold. And then the that's an 800 block. In the 500 block, there is more, but once again, the same. It's a low amount comparative to the overall. It's 4,734 vehicular vehicles in that time frame from the 12th to the 19th, and only 104 were close to the 10 miles an hour over. So still the same as from the last time I gave a report at the last meeting on this, the last regular meeting, is that we don't believe that other than just enforcement action is really needed, not to change the flow of traffic with stop signs or anything like that. Some other developments, Sheets is planning to demo their current building and rebuild now with a potential drive-through, but this will be occurring in 2025. I've seen this done in other localities. They'll take it all the way down and build it in their new model and back up and running in no time. Dominion is planning to do a remodel of their building as well on East 3rd Street. That's going to be in 2025. Hurt and Profit, which is doing our asset management plan for infrastructure, they have located and identified 450 of the 453 fire hydrants that we have. And they're still working on manholes. They've inspected 645 of the 1,300 that we have. So very time consuming. TRC will have our lead and copper survey completed by the date that the federal government is requiring. However, we will have many unknowns, which we have a time period to go back and resubmit those unknowns. But I'm going to let Julie give you a update on what we plan to do with that. Most of that is a lot of that is on the user side that we also have to know this information, and we're gonna seek their assistance, but reward them for that. So, Julie?
So I reached out to some other localities to see how they handle getting people to give us the information. So we have to send a letter out and notifying them that they were identified as unknown, which if you looked in your bill or the newsletter, you saw that we created a flyer notifying people, hey, you're going to get this letter, and it's probably going to say that your line was unknown. It's okay. So when we send the letter out, we plan to also send a survey, like a step-by-step survey, so that they know exactly what we're looking for, and they can take pictures, and then they can send it in to us. And if they do that within a time frame that we give them, we're going to offer them $20 off their utility bill. Hopefully, by offering them a discount, then they'll actually participate. And then for the remainder, the meter readers are going to start leaving notices on the doors saying, hey, we need to schedule a time to come by and figure out what your line is coming into your house. So it's going to be probably a very long process, because I looked yesterday, and of the like 3,000 meter connections we have, there's like 2,000 unknowns to the customer houses. So it's going to be a lot of work.
So in essence, it's not just us telling the feds our side, it's the user side as well. So some of that information is not readily available, and so we have to find it. Hopefully, the other thing is that as we, which I'll tell you in a little bit, as we move forward in the installation of new meters, our meter readers will be freed up a little bit more to get this done with those that don't take advantage of the reduced utility bill and giving us the information on their side. We've made more progress, as you probably have seen, on ADA access on sidewalks in the last week or few weeks in front of Food Lion and Shopping Center on Main Street. So Public Works has been moving forward with doing those things. Fall cleanup is on October 21st. There was a misprint on Facebook at first, and in the water bill it said have it out or by the 16th. Obviously, we don't have a date for you to put it out. It just has to be out before 7:30 on the 21st. And you have to contact Public Works to let them know that you're going to put things out by that Friday, close of business by 4 o'clock on the 18th, so they know where to pick up items. Functionality, it works better that way than riding around trying to, it wouldn't get done, probably won't get done in a day anyway. It usually takes about 2, but hopefully we can get it in one day. Pedal Valve, which is the contractor of ABM, is on site to begin replacement of 1, 1.5, and 2-inch water meters. These are mostly commercial establishments, so it's not residential buildings. So they'll be working with people like Longwood. They're supposed to be reaching out to them because it's a great opportunity this Thursday and Friday and Saturday, because the students will be on fall break. So the university won't need so much water flow that we could replace some of a bulk of those meters, which would be fantastic. Not interrupt. And with other commercial businesses, they'll go to them and say when is convenient for you, so that they'll come back when it's convenient for them and their business to replace that meter. And then hopefully you could tell, the work on this building is finishing up with the ceiling down the one side that goes into the basement where you would access the elevator, and also replacement of the generator for this building is coming to completion. One last item, Mr. Hunter, you had asked about bus shelter on Vernon Street, and I had reached out to Julie. She told me, and she is putting in a grant in February, and then once that is awarded, the money would be available most likely in August of 2025.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. I'll go around the room. Mr. Hardy,
I got nothing tonight.
Mr. Hunter,
Nothing right now.
Mr. Yolen.
Thank you, everybody, for coming, participating this evening. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, thus everybody's got the pink and salute. Thank you, Mr. Atkins, for the work with the handicap accessible sidewalks in front of Food Line. They look great. It's great to see us moving in that direction. And that's all. Thank you very much.
Mr. Parrott.
I want to circle back around and ask our town manager a question. On Hurt and Profit, as far as, are they still on schedule to give us the report in a timely manner of, say, December?
Still the goal. I just gave you the figures so you could understand it's not an easy process.
I realize that, but I've been told for the last year it's going to be December. I want it to be December. Nothing else.
Mr. Dwyer.
Nothing, Mayor.
Mr. Reed.
Nothing.
Ms. Amos.
Nothing, Mayor.
All right, I'll wrap up quickly here. The Pig Roast Habitat for Humanity event this past month was a great event again. Always a great opportunity to support that organization. We were sad to have the cancellation of National Night Out. I know Chief was very sad about that as well, but weather played a huge part in that, and we look forward to it being bigger and better next year as well. I did have the opportunity to serve as a coach at Symposium Day at Longwood, which is an awesome opportunity. County Administrator Doug Stanley gave the students, 290 of them, the missive to figure out how to cease the brain drain from Southside Virginia communities. And they came up with some ideas and presented them, and myself and a number of other coaches helped them to shape their ideas. It was a great opportunity, and I was really heartened by how much the students engaged in the process. It was quite awesome. I had the opportunity to attend the National Leadership Forum on Rural Development and Outdoor Recreation in Pittsburgh at the Richard King Mellon Foundation. There was about 50 invitees from across the nation. It was a unique opportunity to tell Farmville story as the only elected official there. Sat on a panel about activating communities, and the story resonated with lots of folks. I made some great connections at the foundation, as well as meeting the Undersecretary of Rural Development for the United States, who happens to be from Buckingham County, Dr. Basil Gooden. So it was an awesome opportunity there, and hope to see some, I've been in contact with several of the folks at the foundation, and hopes to work together on some projects to benefit Farmville in the future. I also had the opportunity to welcome a new resident to Farmville of some renown, one of the most successful sports authors in American history. John Feinstein recently moved to Farmville, and as a resident has written a number of compelling books, including A Season on the Brink about Bobby Knight. And so we welcome him to our area. Rock the Block, excellent event again from the Farmville Downtown Partnership. It was fun. I visited with my family, ate dinner down there, watched some music. It was a great time. Lancer Madness happened, basketball team inter-squad scrimmage. Looking forward to the teams chasing the Big South Hardware again this year. And then Chief and I actually attended the Alzheimer's Leadership Roundtable today regarding the Alzheimer's Walk in November. And it was a great opportunity to convalesce around with some leadership there. And as Mr. Yolen alluded to, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we are so adorned, and our hearts and thoughts are with those who have suffered or survived that. And last but not least, VML conference is next week, so there will be a number of us who will be attending that in Virginia Beach with our compatriots from across the Commonwealth. And then lastly, it is election season. And there are 3 members of council who are up for an election. And they are running unopposed, but they are on the ballots as well. And I encourage everybody to get out and vote. Voting is participation in democracy. It is essential that you play a part. It's essential. I often tell college students, if you don't vote, it's hard to take your ideas as seriously as you would if you voted, right? Because you're paying into the system by virtue of the one mechanism we have that truly shows what you care about. So with that in mind, I will say, as somebody who ran unopposed my first time running for council, it's always important still to turn out a vote because you want to know that your ideas are resonating. So talk to your council members who are local, who are running, find out what their ideas are, what their beliefs are, and how they align with yours. Local government is what truly touches you. There's a lot of noise on the national level, but here at the local level, we affect your daily life. So it's important. And that concludes my little mini soapbox. I appreciate everybody for turning out tonight. It's great to have folks in the chamber and tuned in online. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.